I just want to speak really quickly about resurrection and restitution and restoration and what that looks like in a family line and life. So we're in the door, and when we do our reconciliation work, this is one of the reasons I love it so much. Benefit 4 generations back, 4 generations forward, because the word of God, which is the spiritual law, says that he will visit the transgressions and the iniquities and the sins of the forefathers onto 4 generations. So this is our reset, our chance to cancel and clear and do a quick light work that is full of ease and grace, because with confidence we boldly go before the throne of God to request and ask and receive for the mercy that transforms and the grace that we need and that empowers our life. Okay, so there is this wonderful method, and it's connected to Hosea 2:15, and it's a promise regarding hope, and it's an energetic gateway. It's a door of hope that is resurrected. It appears almost out of nowhere, because that's the spiritual dimension of faith. And what you speak, what you see, what you hear, you can have and claim for your life. This is the mystery of unlocking the promises and knowing how to apply a key that unlocks a door. Okay, so one of the joys that I have is unhooking and untangling people from old records, stories, sounds, paradigms. So say, for instance, historically your family separated and got on a ship and traveled to a new land. There can be words, there can be bitterness, there can be judgments released, but also there can be a spiritual principle that's like an energetic signature that has a familiar echo and a voice associated with that. And say, for instance, that a principle got activated and you actually had a spirit that was ruling there that hadn't actually been measured yet or identified. So that's where I come in. And I really enjoy doing that. So that's part of the restoration, because you are a door, you are a gate, and the door of Jesus Christ is our hope of presence and glory living today in our life. Okay, so think of the double door. Okay, lift up your heads, O you ancient gates, that the King of glory may come in. Okay, so I just wrote down a few things. I just come out of a fantastic divine signature heartwork service, and it's so much fun. So an excellent wife is the crown of her husband, and the root of the righteous yields fruit. Okay, these are principles of Proverbs and 4. And that again is 4 and 12. Now, David, who was a very loved king, and people love telling the story of David and the Goliath and the giant slayer and the captain of thousands, and how he was so enamored with Saul's daughter that he slayed the foreskins of the Philistines and threw in the seed line as an offering in order to win her hand. Some people find that a bit gruesome. There's a principle of circumcision in there for those who go a little deeper. Okay, so, but he also understood the tearing, the ripping of flesh, the torment, the sorrow, the weeping, and we call that the Valley of Achor. Okay, that is an anchor. This is a place that had a strong hold of depression. Now, some people, when the Lord deals with them, wish for death. Release me from the dealings, from the might of the hand of the Lord. The terror of the Lord has fallen upon me. It's not the enemy that does this to me. It is him. He is dealing with me for a future position that I do not know of. Please, who's going to bring me a hope to sustain me with fruit and nectar from the vine? Okay, so and Lamentations chapter 3, God locked me up in deep darkness. Have you ever been there? Deep darkness of despair. Nothing makes sense. No light, nothing going on, and you're just in the bowels of it. This is like the Jonah in the whale, tossed on the stormy sea. Okay, Jesus slept in the boat, so did Paul. David was learning principles of craft in these moments. Oh, let me see if I can read it to you. I am the man who has seen trouble coming from the lash of God's anger. He took me by the hand and walked me into pitch black darkness. Yes, he's given me the back of his hand over and over and over again. He turned me into a scarecrow of skin and bones, then broke the bones. He hemmed me in, ganged up on me, poured on the trouble and hard times. He locked me up in deep darkness, like a corpse nailed inside a coffin. He shuts me in so I will never get out. Manacles my hands, shackles my feet. Even when I cry out and plead for help, he locks up my prayers and throws away the key. That's like when you feel the heavens are brass and nothing is unlocking. There is no victory, there's no deliverance, there's no breakthrough, there's no restitution, there's no reconciliation, and you're just pressing and pressing and pressing and pressing and pressing. This is the place of ashes. Beauty for ashes. This is the place of richness if you can stay in the hand of the Lord. He shuts me up so I'll never get out. Oh, never, my vow. He sets up blockages with quarried limestone. He's got me cornered. I am dealing with you, my son. I love you, my daughter. Trust me. This is painful, but it is good medicine for you in the end. In the long run, you will thank me. I am touching an aspect of your welfare and well-being that is causing harm to you because you're blinded in this area. But I know, trust me, I will be good for you. Best practice. I am raising you up in a higher understanding and way of a law that is royal by design. This is the place of the test. This is the place of the fire. This is the place of discovering the fourth man in the furnace. This is the preparation before the palace. Okay. He's a prowling bear tracking me down, a lion in hiding, ready to pounce. He knocked me from the path and ripped me to pieces. Have you ever felt like you've had a tearing spirit? That's actually sarcasm, and there is a tearing spirit, and you actually can feel like you've been ripped apart. And if there has been terror that has sat in the gate generationally, you'll understand what I mean by that. There is a reason that we called it the night terrors. Terror, tearing, pain, inflicted, flesh, spirit. Okay, he knocked me down from the path and ripped me to pieces. When he's finished, there was nothing left of me. Isn't that funny? So you actually can feel like that. That's one of the things when we lay our life on the altar. And the Word of God can divide us, body, soul, spirit, flesh, bone, marrow, divide. And sometimes it feels like you can be cut up in pieces. Okay? But he's talking here, the essence of his divinity, the essence of his spirit that was sustained by the breath of life. So even though his flesh and his soul were bearing the marks of the dealings of God. Isn't it interesting what he says? When he was finished, there was nothing left of me. And again, Paul said, it is not I that lives, but Christ in me. The hope, the sustaining glory of the resurrection, of the power operating out of another realm. He took out his bow and arrows and used me for target practice. Friendly fire, prayers, words of the saints, and the decrees of others. Oh, my Lord, have mercy. You ever had any sparrows, any arrows, any daggers of betrayal? Cut up the side. Let's see what comes out. Okay, that's the test of the knife. Out of the side of Christ, he birthed us, his church, his bride. He saw us, beginning and end. And so when we go through that initiation, and if you're called to apostleship, and you know that looks great on your business card, the mastery of this aspect will be whether you're going to pick up the knife and strike down, because the temptation of betrayal is to strike another with that knife. And the angels are in awe and wonder, and they will come to visit and watch and witness your transformational prayers as you plow the betrayal and the hurt and the disappointment and the grief and the sorrow of your soul and the bitterness of losing friends and being misunderstood and misrepresented, where Leviathan has gotten in and twisted and turned, and it has now risen up against you. That's an energetic signature. That's a principle. A ruling principle has risen up its head like a Nicolaitan. Or a cobra. And they will listen to your prayers as you are before the throne of God. And you can cry out, blessing, blessing, blessing. Forgive them, for they know not what they did. I forgive them. Please help them see. Please heal and mend and repair and restore, and yet I trust you. I give this relationship to you, and I let it go. I will serve you. I will worship you. I will praise you. I will praise your holy name. Okay. And sometimes it can be like you've got a target on your back. Return to sender. Do, 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 do. Address unknown. Do, 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 do. No such number. No one home. Do, 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 do. Don't have to receive it. So he shot me in the stomach, the belly of my emotional rest, my seat, my second brain, my storehouse, my provision center. With arrows from his quiver, everyone took me for a joke. I was mocked, I was laughed at. The sarcasm was there, the lowest form of wit. I was the butt of everyone's jokes. I was belittled, and I was ashamed. They made me the butt of their mocking ballads. So they even sung and shared it from town to town, from village, from meeting to meeting, from alehouse to clan to watering well. So the sound of that record went out ahead of me, before me, and I was ashamed to follow in the footsteps of that, knowing that when I get there, they were going to look at me and see me according to that record, that sound, that wave. Those words had framed their perception and understanding, and they judged me ahead of time. He forced rotten, stinking food down my throat, bloated me with vile drinks. He ground my face into the gravel. He pounded me into the mud. I gave up on life altogether. I had forgotten what the good life is like. Disappointment, sorrow, gnashing of teeth, weeping, death vows, let me die. He had already identified with the coffin, hopes, dreams, desire, the intimacy with God was gone, future plans annihilated, burnt, nothing left, and I am as if a corpse. So right now he's dealing with vows and oaths of death and the death spirit and the king. Which king will rule and reign and steward the house? I said to myself, this is it. I am finished. God is a lost cause. Wow. You don't hear about that. Resurrection brings you back from the places of death, out of the grave, into a new life, raised up higher from where you had been. So this is about the door of hope. That was Hosea 2:15. In the valley of anchor, the anchor energetically that was in the genetics and the DNA line, the lineage was being dealt with in the body, which is why he felt like he was being cut to pieces. His flesh was under the hand of God, and he hoped he was going to die, but God had other plans. when you carry the name and the mark of God, there is the protection of God. And it's not always the devil who is dealing with you. And God will allow trouble to come to your house to reposition and align you for good. So, restoration looks like something. An excellent wife, an excellent husband is the crown of their spouse. We are a representation of covenant, and the analogy of marriage is used to complete the picture, to give us understanding of that full measure. And it is a mystery that not many people understand or contemplate. And that is why marriage is such a good place to work out your salvation with fear and trembling. The root of the righteous yields fruit. Hope at heartworks.life. The restoration. Okay, so I just wanted to jump on quickly. I've come out of a signature session with a new client doing some restoration, and I just wanted to speak about that double door, give some parallels, some applications, some insights, and I can connect all these dots. I can teach inside out regarding this. So if this is something that resonates with you and you get a witness and a match, and you know that there are areas and places energetically, whether that is mental, emotional, or spiritual, where you feel shackled, where you feel bonds around you, and you're trying to go forward and you get pulled back. This is what I do best. Okay, God bless.